Hello YouTube, it is Nina here once again. You're watching Fairy Chamber channel, and this video is going to be a request one of you had for me to talk about paganism in the Republic of Finland. And yes, I'm filming in the forest once again, here in beautiful northern Wales. There's a river there, which name I cannot pronounce because it is in Welsh, but it's beautiful. And I tried to film there, but the sound was very heavy, so I came here. And there you can see a swamp behind me. Alright, back to the topic. So, paganism in the Republic of Finland. And this is all my personal experiences, so don't think everyone has a similar stories to tell. But this is the way I've seen paganism, how it has evolved in Finland, or neo-paganism. But I don't personally like the term neo-paganism that much, because for me paganism is something that has always existed, and now when people refer to neo-paganism, it is the term used now when there's this kind of massive growing interest towards different levels of spiritualism and different religions, and overall I think it's called like this time that we are living, it's called like spiritual age or something. I'm not very familiar with it, but it's true. So, but for me paganism is not really about neo-paganism, but definitely there is this kind of idea of neo-paganism in Finland, the way people are reconstructing our past, or our mythological and spiritual past. So in that sense there is rising neo-pagan growth in Finland. Sorry, there are some bugs here. Anyway, back in the days, maybe 11, 12 years ago, when I first started, I was 17, 16, 15. First thing how I got into paganism must have been this kind of global pagan, global spiritual new age movement that there was going on after the millennium. And I think people who have born in the 90s and in the 80s and before that will remember this, because it was a global phenomenon, and there was like lots of neo-pagan movements around the world. And I remember that in Finland there was big Wiccan movement going on, and I wasn't really into Wicca, but I did research it and got into more active in pagan scenes through Wicca. And first webpage I remember was this Finnish Wiccan forum. Like, that was before Facebook and YouTube and other social media we now have. There was this Wiccan forum, and it wasn't just for Wiccas, it was for everyone who was like spiritual and pagan interest. Changed my hand. Anyway, there was another forum that I really loved, and I still miss it. It was called Luutakovero, or Luutis, which means a broom closet. And that wasn't only for Wicca, that was like really for witches and pagans. And I really enjoyed it, and I was very active member there for a few years. But then some years ago the server of the web page, it got crashed, and there was no broom closet anymore. And I think they tried to restart it on Facebook, and I think there even was a group for it. But I never really got the same feeling on Facebook then. Like in the forum, somehow it was more personal in the forum, because if you had one specific topic you could create only one conversation for it. And then now if there's conversations on Facebook, they're all public, so it didn't feel the same. But it really had, the forum really was very special for me, and I still feel a bit sad because it was shut down. But there are some Finnish neo-pagan organization, I will tell you, and you can check the links if some of you are interested. And now in Facebook these current neo-pagan organizations, some of them has Facebook pages, and there are sometimes like English conversations as well if someone wants to join. Please be my guest. One of most important Finnish pagan nature organization is Lehto, which means the crow, and they publish this Seita magazine called Seita about Finnish paganism and paganism in Finland. And I have personally written a few articles there in the past years, and it's worth checking out. And they are like open for all different levels of paganism. And then there is Pakanaverkko, which means pagan web, something like that. And it's also a very similar organization, but I'm not very familiar with them. And they organize different kinds of pagan events. Lehto does the same. And there is also Taiwan Naula. And if you watch my videos, you know that I like to speak about Finnish mythology and Finnish folklore. Taiwan Naula is it's not directly a pagan organization. It's like non-committed religiously or politically. It aims to reconstruct old Finnish way of life, basically. So there is lots of paganism and pagan-related articles and stuff, of course, because in pre-Christian Finland, people practiced animism and shamanism. So that's why there's lots of really good articles about these subjects. And Taiwan Naula, it means the nail in the sky, and that directly comes from Finnish mythology. And they do these different kinds of activities, events, and publish these articles online. And yeah, it's worth checking out. And I think they also have a Facebook group. I can't remember the name of it. So Finn Belief itself, it's not directly about Finnish spirituality. It's also about like food that people ate and how they lived, and what kind of nature was back then, and what kind of superstitions people had, and how it has been affected by neighbor countries like Russia and Sweden and Baltic countries. And I've always found it very fascinating, and I guess that's why it's one of my favorites when it comes to this kind of Finnish neo-pagan organizations. And there is also, I don't personally really care about if paganism is a religion. For me, I see religion as something that is like political, like political organization almost. Like there is certain rules you need to follow, certain dogmas. So I kind of like it that paganism is not really, if it's a religion, it's non-organized religion. But there are some like shamanistic and then like animistic religions officially, like Karhun kansa in Finland, which means the folk of the bear, people of the bear, and it's like religious group that is basically based on ancient Finnish spirituality and practice and mythology and Finnish shamanism, and they legalized this their religion in 2013, and it was the first like pagan religion officially recognized in Finland. And you know, even though I'm not myself like believe that there's need for that, I do support it, because some people do feel that there is need for being recognized, or their pagan belief needs to be recognized as a religion. So in that sense I do support it, and it's the same the way Asatru is supported is recognized as a religion in Iceland and some other Nordic countries. Personally, believe that one of the biggest struggles there is, what it comes being a pagan in Finland, is that the in Finland the church and state, they're still pretty much connected, and it just has been like past recent years that we are getting rid of this kind of idealism that our laws are directly linked to the Lutheran church orders. But it's difficult, and even at the moment, the Finnish some Finnish ministers, they are extremely religious, and you can sometimes I have a feeling that the way the country's politics is going really down, economy and financially, people are moving abroad like myself. Um, Sometimes I feel that the way that they try to the politicians, um, maybe they try to justify their actions, their bad actions, by being Christians. I don't know, but that's just something that came to my mind. So I'm not really a big fan of that, and like I said, I don't really support idea of constructed religions, because I think religion should be so different than your political views, and because for me, religion is easily something that can be like used for mass control. Overall, there is more paganism in southern Finland, or more active paganism in southern Finland than in northern Finland, and largely that is because there is a Bible Belt in Finland, that is the northern Ostrobothnia area, where I'm from, by the way, and that is because there is lots of different Christian like groups there, very strict Christian groups there, and if there are lots of people who are like spiritually awakening, but they don't find comfort, or they don't really feel at home with Christianity, and if they want to they end up being in the broom closet many times, because the rest of the families tend to be Christians, or in these areas, no matter if you are like pagan or maybe atheist or whatever, if you are not Christian, or Lutheran Christian in this case, you easily might get discriminated by others in certain areas. And this has happened to me a few times. Like, I've been discriminated after people have found out that I'm a pagan, and many times these discriminators, they have been like very strict Lutherians, or other very strict Christians, or they have been like very extreme atheists. So that's something I don't really support, because I don't discriminate others by their religions. I discriminate others by their behavior sometimes, but there's a difference. So checking my notes. And yes, overall the mentality is quite atheist in Finland, and in that sense it still feels a bit silly the way the state is very connected to the church. But it might be because of the leaders of the moment, and I do feel that especially in northern Finland, many people are a bit afraid to be out of the broom closet, or be out as pagans or spiritually awakened people, because they fear to be judged by others, not necessarily by Lutherians, but by people who are atheists. Or but I personally have quite a lot Finnish pagan friends. I know a few Wiccans. I know a Finnish guy who studies Druidism. I know one guy who is a former Hindu priest, but he's not a priest anymore, he's just a Hindu. Well, I don't really know if he likes to call himself as a pagan. Then I have a few friends who are more like New Age. Well, I think like something what I found on YouTube, that they're actually crystal witches, perhaps. Like the There's elements from Christianity and paganism. That's their part. And there is Asatrus, there's Odinism, there is Hellenism, there is people who are more New Age. Then I know quite a bunch of people who are into Finn belief, like myself, or are quite paganistic. Then there are lots of atheists who are more spiritual that I know. Or, well, I think my sister would be counted as one of them. She's quite atheistic, but she's also very spiritual. No, weird combination. And one thing that I do find quite similar between this paganism in Finland and paganism in Wales actually is the nature connection. That there's so much lots of like preserved nature areas here in Wales. There's also lots of preserved nature in Finland, and in both countries, like here, Druidism is very affected by the landscape. That's the same with Finnish shamanism, and I'm pretty sure that is the same in all these kind of folk traditional religion and spiritual views that are connected to ancestry and to your land. So that was all what I wanted to say. Thank you for watching and see you next time.